Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to NBR, or as we like to call it around here, Nothing But Rants, the show where I find topics that I'm oddly passionate about and I pontificate upon them. These are not hot takes, but rather takes that I'm hot about. What's up? You really like that?
Let's shut up and grind some tape.
Hit your layups. We talk about it all the time on this channel. When life presents you a slam dunk, jump off on the free throw line and jam that bitch. When life throws you a curveball, hit that thing 500 feet, leave no doubt. Put that thing in the stands. And as usual, when it comes to lobs off the backboard and layups and absolute wide open lanes, and just instead of just putting it in the net, when it comes to throwing the ball off the backboard and pinging it around the inside of the stadium and just sacrificing an automatic easy layup, there are very few organizations that are better at just colossally effing up something that is so easy, more so than the NCAA. On this channel, we do a great job of coming out here and just shitting all over the NCAA, like everybody else does, because it's so easy. They never fail to not get out of their way. They are the one organization that constantly gets in their own way. And the NCAA is back in the news for doing such today for what most people would claim to be a travesty of eligibility. That is what we're calling the Trez Walker situation right now at UNC. We'll call that a travesty of eligibility. The NCAA has ruled Trez Walker, the former Kent State wide receiver, ineligible for the entirety of the 2023 season. And this may seem like a layup. Twitter's probably told you this is a layup. Twitter's probably made you believe that this is a complete injustice done by the NCAA. And the words that I'm about to read you from Mac Brown are probably the most hardened, fast, and stern words I've heard from a football coach with regards to the NCAA ever, with regards to missing a layup, okay? And before we give you our opinions, I thought these aggressive-ass statements, these inflammatory-ass statements, these should get read on air. So we fit to do a little segment called Brooks Does Some Reading, and I hope you guys stick with me, because Mac Brown, this is some gas. Whether or not I agree with these statements, that's gonna be addressed afterwards, but this is some absolute just flame-throwing to the NCAA. Quote, "We are absolutely crushed to learn that Trez Walker's eligibility has been denied for the season and he won't be able to play. I don't know that I've ever been more disappointed in a person, a group of people, or an institution than I am with the NCAA right now. It's clear that the NCAA is about process and it couldn't care less about the young people it's supposed to be supporting. Plain and simple, the NCAA has failed Trez and his family, and I've lost all faith in its ability to lead and govern our sport. They've messed so many things up as it relates to college football, and now their failures have negatively impacted the life of one of our own. Just imagine what it's like for Trez to be so excited to come home and have a chance to fulfill his childhood dream of playing for North Carolina in front of all of his family and friends, only to have it taken away despite doing nothing wrong. I can't begin to understand how this has happened. The decision makers at the NCAA and on the committee should be ashamed of themselves for doing this to a young man. As has clearly been documented, Trez should be eligible for a number of reasons, not the least of which is the mental health issues he's faced during his time in college." The quote continues, "And with this decision, the NCAA has placed an unnecessary burden on him. He has had a rough go of it, and this will surely make it only worse. How dare they ever speak about mental health and student-athlete welfare again? We've got complete rosters overhauled through the transfer portal. Players playing in their 8th year of college, players playing for their 4th year of school or for their 4th school, and the list goes on. Yet, Trez Walker, who has only played football at one school, is ineligible. It makes no sense, and it never will." Here's the final. "Moving forward, our Carolina family is strong, and we need to wrap our arms around Trez, lift him up, and make sure we continue to do all that we can to support him. He's continued to work on and off the field and remained an amazing member of our program throughout this ordeal. I know that it will continue to happen because that's the kind of person he is. Despite this setback, Trez's future remains bright, and we'll continue to do everything we can to help him fulfill his dreams." Shame on you, NCAA. Shame on you. Mac Brown, Cersei shame-belled the NCAA, you don't seem to be a Game of Thrones guy. Do you know the scene where they Cersei shame bailed? That's what Mack Brown just did to the NCAA. Now, I will admit, before we get you guys' take and opinion on that, I will admit there's some absolute gas in that statement. There are some absolute flames that I love watching get thrown at the footsteps of the NCAA. Again, I'm all for shitting on the NCAA. It is an easy take. Captain Easy Stance is a person who gives opinions for a living. I love easy takes. They're nice. Make your layups, right? We'll go ahead and do this one. Except I don't think this one's quite a layup. I really don't. Consistency, that's all we've ever asked for from this program. On this program, that's all we ever ask. Are you consistent? Do you consistently make the same decisions over and over again? If you are consistent and I can explain why, we're done. Those are the only two things we need. Consistency, the ability to explain why. And did you notice that Mack Brown in that statement mentioned that part about only having played football for one school? Tez Walker started his career at NC Central. The season was suspended during 2020. He then transferred to Kent State. He played 2 seasons, was one of the best wide receivers in all of FCS football, entered the transfer portal again, sought out dozens and dozens of offers, then went to North Carolina. This is not cut and dry. This is not a layup. This is not as simple as the kid transferred, why can't he play? Because he's transferred twice. It's pretty simple. They're in the rules, okay? 1 transfer, we're good. 2 transfers requires a graduate degree. We kind of all know that, all right? And again, it's not exactly a layup. Tez Walker is not the most famous example right now in college football of this. There's an offensive lineman at Colorado. His name is Tyler Brown. He transferred to Jackson State after his football coach died of a heart attack in front of him at his previous HBCU. He transferred to Jackson State where Deion Sanders was. He then transferred to Colorado where Deion Sanders is. The NCAA is not allowing Tyler Brown to play this year because he's transferred twice. And even though his head coach left one program, which believes, hey, if a coach leaves, why can't I leave? We all agree with that. But all we ever ask for is consistency. So if Tyler Brown can't play, Tez Walker can't play. That's just the way it goes. And what you'll listen to me is say, hey, we need consistency, Brooks. That's what you talk about, consistency. Well, then explain JT Daniels. I can't. I can't. And this is where I get all kind of messed up. I can't explain the copious amount of football players that have slipped through the cracks and are still able to play. Mack Brown talked about it. It's not a layup. It's a layered discussion. It's a very layered discussion, okay? There's also this whole thing going on right now where every single college football coach not named Mack Brown is out here bitching to the media about how they need a governing body. How many times this offseason did we hear about how there needs to be some type of college football czar, somebody to overlook all this portal stuff, somebody to actually infringe or inflict punishment for people who are doing tampering? We've done it all offseason. We bitched, moaned, and complained. Can y'all put some sanctions on our sport? Can you control it a little bit? And then the NCAA comes in with some controlling, and y'all don't like that shit because it's so easy to come out here and say, oh, big bad NCAA, how dare you keep that kid from playing? Well, because it's his second transfer. And even though we come out and we can say mental health issues, eventually, guys, we got to stop doing that. Eventually, the mental health issues come a little bit soft. All right, they do. Eventually, it's easy to come out here and do all the man, why is the NCAA picking on me when Tez Walker is kind of directly impacting whether or not you're going to win football games? That's what this is about. Tez Walker is one of the best wide receiver transfers that was available, and now the NCAA is making him sit out, so Mack Brown's all up in arms. Mack Brown was also all up in arms this past offseason when some SEC team claimed to have paid or offered multiple $1 million to Drake May through the portal. So we can't have it all the which ways. We can't have you out here trying to inflict and enforce the rules on the transfer portal when your starting quarterback Heisman candidate is out here getting poached, then also turning around bitching, moaning, complaining because they actually enforce the rules on you. We can't do both of these sides of this argument, okay? I do have a tremendous amount of respect for folks with the mental health, and I know we kind of brushed over that. And if you struggle with mental health, I do hope and pray that you receive some type of peace with that. I really do. But it's becoming the thing that's most often used in hopes of narrative steering. I don't feel comfortable with that. I really don't. I don't feel comfortable that every time Ben Simmons is asked why you're not playing, he says mental health. And we get reimbursement on contracts using mental health. And we try to get past NCAA bylaws with mental health. And we do all of these things nowadays because people are actually lenient and listening when you say you have mental health concerns. Just because people are finally listening doesn't mean we need to take advantage of it. Okay? No, your 85-pound Labrador Retriever doesn't get to come on the plane because it's a service dog. All right? That's not how this works. We can't just keep doing that. All right? So I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about this. I wish everybody got eligible. I really do. But I also understand that we listen to coaches for 9, 10, 12 months now complain about this stuff. And finally it gets enforced, and now we want to complain about the enforcing of the rules. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, you can't have it both ways. You can't complain about the transfer portal and complain about kids getting to move around all willy-nilly and hope that there's some type of enforcement, put some type of laws in place to where it can help college coaches some type of roster management and have some consistency. And then when the NCAA acts upon it, says, like, we're trying to give you what you wanted, and then complain about it because it hurts you. Now, I get it. I want Tez Walker to play. I think everybody would agree with that. You want him to be on the field. You want him to get his shot this year with a team like UNC and Drake May. But at the same time, like, you got to put everybody under the same umbrella. You can't just give people special situations and special circumstances.
And look, I wish there was consistency with this. There's not. JT Daniels is playing this year. Mm-hmm. He's already used his graduate transfer once, I would presume, to go to West Virginia. Right? When he left Georgia, he was immediately eligible at West Virginia. So why in the hell is he at Rice right now playing with no consistency? I don't know. Or not with no consistency, but with no issues. All right, so I don't know. And there's also people in the chat. I get that the rules of him transferring were before the one-time transfer rule, but that doesn't mean just because you transferred 3 times, you get a free one-time transfer rule once the rule is enacted. It's not a +1 rule for everybody. It's a one-time transfer rule. That's what it is. It's backdated, meaning if you're still in college football somehow, but you transferred in 2018 and the one-time transfer rule didn't get impacted until 2021, guess what? That still counts. You still transferred during your college football years. It still counts. So, but the problem is the inconsistencies, right? It's how can you explain JT Daniels, but you can't explain this? It's weird.
That's the biggest issue, and I think that's where most people are having issues with the NCAA. Yeah, how does JT Daniels, a guy who was hurt at USC, transferred to Georgia, that's fine, lost the job at Georgia, that's all it was. I mean, it kind of to injury, lost the job at Georgia, went to West Virginia, didn't do much there, now he's at Rice. That's 4 schools in 5 years. So I think that's the biggest one that people look at and go like, what the hell is going on here? So it's a bad
Who all was he
look.
taking shots at here? We've got complete rosters overhauled through the transfer portal. Shouts out Colorado.
Oh, yeah.
Players being in their 8th year of college. Who's in their 8th year of college?
There's some guy, I don't remember where or who.
Jason White?
There's some guy that's like in his 7th year of college. So
Possible.
Will you look that up real quick?
Possible. Because you have a redshirt year,
Yep.
you have a medical redshirt year, and a COVID year now.
Yeah. It's not a
7's the max. 8's a bit much.
Yeah, it's
for
not
me.
a Power 5 school.
Don't know who he's taking the shot at with the 8th year of college, but it is funny to me that JT Daniels was in the same collegiate or high school class as Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. That always makes me laugh.
Yeah.
You know who else? There's another quarterback right now, Jordan Travis. He's in the same class as Justin Fields and Trevor
Holy
Oh,
Lawrence.
smokes.
Yeah, he's been in college football for a hot minute. Texas Tech offensive lineman Tony Morales got a 7th year granted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, a medical, a standard, and a COVID. Good.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
7's good. 8's a little bit
technically
much.
played 7.
Players playing at their 4th school. Shouts out JT Daniels. You took a bullet wound here. And the list goes on. I thought that was the biggest bar. We've got complete rosters overhauled through the transfer portal. Players playing in their 8th year of college. Players going to their 4th school. Yet here we are. Tez Walker can't play. I get it. It's an easy layup. It's an easy take to stance. Or an easy stance to take, Easy stance to take, but it's a layered conversation, right? Like we said, if you're going to do this, Tyler Brown needs to get eligibility. I would love for everything to be just, yay, everybody eligible, but I also sit here and complain about no governing body. So you can't complain about the police being too strict and then turn around and be like, fuck the police. You know what I mean? You can't do both of those things. So, yeah, shame on you, NCAA. But for once, on this channel, your boys is Jacob Campbell just told me that Prize Picks ain't hitting. He said, yeah, boy, this thing ain't hitting. Welcome into tonight's show. We got a loaded NBR for you guys tonight. We need more dogs. I'm just going to tell you right now, we need more dogs. All right, we're going to talk about that tonight. Teams who absolutely have to win on Saturday, we'll tell you about that. Sunday's headline today, we're going to do some overreacting before the overreacting happens. Deion Sanders just keeps freaking winning. And we kind of like to see that, particularly for what we're going to talk about today. Love some good sportsmanship here on the channel. And then we got some buy, sell, and hold. The boys are going to throw me at that real quick. Christian, though, before we get into that, JC says his lock of the week's not coming through, but you got one for me for this weekend.
Yeah,
right?
I got a nice little college football lock for
Let's
you.
hear it.
Caleb Williams under 328.5 passing yards.
You're taking under on Caleb Williams.
Yeah, they've been pulling him pretty early, and I think they're trying to get a balanced offense going right now. He had 278.
Who they got this weekend?
It's some nobody.
Again?
Yeah.
They're going to open the season San Jose State, Nevada, and a dog shit?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's one. A.J. Swan over 1.5 passing touchdowns. He's been airing it out a lot recently, and I think he'll hit that.
Who do they got this week?
It's another mid-major.
It's that week 2 blues going on right now, man.
And this is one I feel kind of iffy about, but Xavier Worthy over 72.5 receiving yards. Ooh. I think if Texas wants to have a shot at beating Alabama, they have to expose that secondary. So Xavier Worthy and A.D. Mitchell are going to probably get fed a lot. I like the over on that.
You know, to go into that Tuscaloosa environment, you're going to have an explosive, right? And they've probably been spending all week trying to figure out, hey, they got a freshman there at safety. They got a brand new transfer in at safety. How do we pick on one of those guys and get that for a deep ball?
Which is the one thing Sark is good at.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely good at drawing up shots.
Maybe not waiting to run out of the tunnel.
Maybe not much. Hey, week 1 predictions here. We had Utah -4, cashed. LSU -2, that's a fat L. Clemson -12.5, that's a fat L. South Carolina +2, that's a fat L. Good God Almighty.
We're piling them up over there. Something's got to change.
Hey, we got to catch some streakers. We're going streaking through the quads. Everyone's doing it.
Hell yeah.
Got a loaded show. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button. I know it's Thursday. Y'all be tapping out on us towards the end of the week, man. I get it. There's other things to do. But, hey, you're either elite or you're not. And we're elite around these parts right here. We need more dogs, man. Today is the 12th anniversary of the greatest audio to ever exist in press conference history. Shouts out to Coastal Carolina.
Trying to get our 2 boys ready to carry them to the golf tournament before practice, right? 12 cats live across the road. Our door's open. Screen's broke. We need to get a new screen door, but the screen's broke. So you can come in through the screen, but you can't get back out of it. I turn and look, there's a little kitty cat in our kitchen. So I said, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat? By that time, the cat turns, tries to get back out. That screen won't go that way. Cat starts going, meow, all crazy. And I told our players, we need more dogs. Bo's barking in the back. I have to go shut Bo up. Mel's like, what's going on? I said, there's a cat in the house. Cat in the house? I said, yeah, there's a cat in the house. So I told our players, I tried to let it out the front door. Meow, meow, the cat's still going crazy in there. And I told our players, you need to be more like a dog. We don't need a bunch of cats in here. Meow, looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. We don't need no cats. We need more dogs.
Bro,
trying to get our 2 boys ready to carry them to go.
Every time he opened his mouth, it just kept getting better and better and better every single time. I forgot Man's name. I don't even know what Man's name is. But there's so many great portions of that audio clip right there, just from the very beginning when he starts talking about the story, and he goes, what are you doing in here, little kitty cat?
What are you doing in here, little kitty cat?
What are you doing in here, little kitty cat?
Can you imagine being a player like in the locker room when he gives that speech? Like before a game he gives that, and you're just like, what the hell is he talking about, bro?
Man?
Coach, we don't give a damn about no kitty cat.
Bro, what?
There's so many.
Making those cat noises.
There's so many great parts in that where he's talking about how the cat comes in the screen door, but they need to get a screen door fixed, and cat can't go that way.
That screen won't go that way.
Screen won't go that way.
What the hell, bro?
I love the and I told my players, we need more dogs. And then he's like, Bo's in the back. He don't even stop. He's like, told my players, we need more dogs. Bo's in the back going crazy.
Be a dog.
Be a dog. Meow. Looking in the mirror. Do I look good? Got my extra bands on. Got my spare pair of cleats. Be a dog. We don't need no meows. Oh, man. 10 years. 12 years. 12-year anniversary right there. We need some more dogs. I love it, man. Speaking of some dogs, there's some underdogs that need to win some football games on Saturday. Transition. Football teams that absolutely have to have a win on Saturday. I'm going to start us off. We're going to go round robin here, boys. Okay? I'm going to go, you going to go, you going to go, I'm going to go. All right? We got that?
Let's hit it.
By the way, I thought it was hilarious going back and watching last night's show, how I mentioned my wife's never lost to me in rock, paper, scissors, and then both of y'all waxed my ass right here on live broadcast. So I'm still winless on the – if there is something on the line, I will not win rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, you don't have that clutch gene?
I don't. I don't have
That's
that
tough,
clutch
man.
RPC rock, paper, scissors, RPS. I don't have that RPS clutch gene. But, hey, Steve Sarkisian's first press conference of the year, okay, the first one he had this fall. He walks up to the press conference. He's got this shit-eating grin on his face, okay, and the first question he's asked, Coach, you got this big smile on your face. It's hard not to when you got a team that's this good. Why the big smile? And he starts to go in about how he just loves football season, but it really is because he has optimism about this football program, optimism about this football team. And when you got one of them smiles on your face, it is a must-win football game. This football game, this Alabama football game is certainly a must-win football game when you think you've got one of those teams. When you've got a team that's good enough for you to walk up in your first press conference, smiling, bro. Not Nick Saban smiling, not smiling walking off the podium where social media's talking about it. I'm talking about from Jump Street, walking up to the podium with a grin on your face. It is not a must-win from a national title standpoint. It is not. They can lose this game, go on to win the Big 12. They can make a college football playoff. Their season is not over if they lose this football game. It's not a must-win from that standpoint. But it is a must-win from a standpoint of the year 3 theory around this program. Okay, if you want to be one of those programs, if you are one of those football coaches, you'll let me know. You'll let me know by year 3, okay? And you'll let me know by how you perform in games like this on the road against football teams who appear to be better than you on paper. It's also a must-win from a are you here standpoint, okay? 5 losses last year, less than 1 score. Can you win a football game like this? When you're on the road, okay, you going up against a football team who knows, has a sample size of you, and you're not going to be able to sneak up on a surprise. Can you win football games like this will tell me whether or not you have, quote, unquote, arrived. All right? I don't even think the Texas is back conversations need to be had because we've had those here on this network. Texas being back means losing 2 games or averaging 2 losses in a season. That's the supremacy and the pinnacle of Texas football. By God, they better be back at that standpoint. But from an arrival standpoint of can you win a national title, they have to win on Saturday for me to believe any of that. Agree or disagree?
100% agree. I just want to point out we had 50 people in the – so.
I mean, you ain't had to do
Shout
it
out-
like that.
shout out to you.
Shouts out to you, Fitty. All right? Y'all some real G's.
Being dogs out here.
Just
So-
dogs.
So if there's anything we've kind of all universally predicted this year, it's that this is going to be a year of chaos and that the playoff picture is not clear at all. And I think for one team, if you want to get in, you absolutely have to win this game. And that's Tulane. Tulane hosts Ole Miss this week, and they're kind of the only
that's clutch.
non-Power 5 team that even has a remote shot. So I think you have to beat Ole Miss if you want any shot at all of being a playoff team
No,
this
that's
year.
a tremendous call right there.
Yeah, that's actually the one I was going to go with next. But instead, I think Cal is on the must-win after your running back came out and ran your mouth. If you want to be on the right side of relevancy, you better win the football game because if not, then you're going to be relevant for a whole lot of other reasons. So, Cal, you got it at home. You better clutch up and you better win that football game.
I mean, Marco Wilson better win every game this year too, because he's out here. I mean, he out here said they're better than everybody. Florida State's better than everybody. So yeah, if you out here talking that nonsense, you better show up. Okay, we need more dogs. You know what I mean? So absolutely got to show up. I think Notre Dame's in a must-win this week.
Yeah,
okay?
absolutely.
They play NC State, but 2 out of the next 3 are against Duke and Ohio State. Okay, and this is an NC State program that only beat UConn by 10. All right, so if you can't handle NC State and handle them like you're supposed to, we're going to be looking a little bit differently at you come 2 weeks from now when we got to make picks in that Notre Dame Ohio State football game. I believe that game's on the road too. I think they got to go to the Shoe. All right, because last year they were at Notre Dame in that matchup. So you're going to have to go to the Shoe in 2 weeks. If you don't come out with a win this week, man, like you're way thrown off. You got a real big, all your work is way ahead of you right now in Notre Dame. Okay, you got Duke still, you got Clemson still, you got Ohio State still, you got USC still. If we're out here messing around taking a loss to NC State midway through September, the season is just kaput.
Well, not even that. I think also this is kind of the first year in recent memory where Notre Dame's kind of got the sense of that everyone believes him. Oh, Sam Hartman's the quarterback. They're good this year.
Or at least everybody likes us.
Right. Everyone kind of likes you. If you lose in NC State week 2, that is all down the drain. It's, oh, my gosh, I can't believe we fell for Notre Dame again. They're the same old Notre Dame. They'll never win anything. So you do have to win this game.
What else you got?
I've got – let's see which one of these I want to pick. I'm going to go with – this is a rivalry game, state rivalry. And if you lose, it probably means that your offense did not do anything. Iowa has to beat Iowa State. This is a must-win for them. I don't think there's any major consequences of you losing, but it's just a terrible look if you don't win this game.
And you better do it by scoring 40 points.
Yeah,
because it didn't get off to a hot start last week.
You know what was a terrible look? Matt Campbell turning down reportedly like $8.5 million a year to coach the Detroit Lions. Did y'all remember that? Mm-hmm. When the Lions were up for a head coaching job.
Remember when they were a playoff team?
They hired Man Campbell. They had an opportunity to hire Matt Campbell, the head coach at Iowa State, and he turned it down. That was wild. Bad decision all around. I know we all love college football here, but if the NFL wants to give you $85 million, shut up and take it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
God dang.
Remember when they were a playoff team?
Friend of the show. What else we got?
My last one, I think Baylor has to win. They got a tough one against Utah, but Baylor already got off to a tough start. You lose another one, and if it's ugly, especially if it's ugly
Backup
against
quarterback,
the Utes, Dave Aranda, it's going to be getting real steamy and hot on that seat of yours.
I hate that. But golly, Alabama's going to have a great defensive coordinator the moment he's fired.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Because they'll get rid of old Kevin Steele immediately.
You think Alabama gets Dave Aranda?
I mean, Dave Aranda, if he gets fired, he's immediately one of the most popular defensive coordinator potential hires in college football.
Absolutely.
For what he did at LSU and then turned around and did at the beginning of the years at Baylor.
Do you have any more?
Yeah, I got one more. Miami's got to win on Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do yours.
Yeah, Mario Cristobal's recruiting success can only carry him so far. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, their NIL guy, the Ruiz dude, he's pinned up in all kind of SEC investigations. I would imagine he's not exactly liquid moving forward, okay? And liquidity is kind of something required in the name, image, and likeness game. So if they can't prove this year that they're at least heading into the right direction with regards to competing nationally, it's not going to look great down there, all right? I think sometimes we get way too caught up in the discussion of, oh, well, that game got him fired. No, this game this weekend is not going to get Mario Cristobal fired if they lose, all right? But because the buyout's way too expensive. I think we're only in year 2 of the Cristobal experience, so it's not like they're going to be tossing that to the shitter and just eating all that money right here, right now. However, games like this and potential losses like this, 2 years in a row to Texas A&M, probably going to be a key point and a key indicator looking back if it doesn't work, where it's like, all right, that's when we knew. When Texas A&M, a third-rate SEC program, is beating our doors off at home, we knew we weren't very good. We knew that wasn't the answer. We knew he wasn't the guy. All right, that's what it'll look. It won't be the Middle Tennessee State loss. That Middle Tennessee State loss was ugly as shit. They scored 42 points. It was ugly. All right, it was. But it was, hey, we're just still getting started. Wait for the recruiting buzz. Wait for all of our guys. Wait for Cristobal's guys to get in and get in the mix. Well, now they're there. Okay, that's fully in the mix. They done mixed up. All right, half that bacon or half that cake that's baking is his. All right, at the very least. the results got to get better. They have to get better for Mario Cristobal this weekend. And Miami fans will listen to that and be like, well, isn't Jimbo in the same stance? You haven't listened to me. We done thrown Jimbo down the river. He gone. We already thrown that one down the river. I don't care what Connor Weigman does. We've given up on Jimbo Fisher. All right, we have. But he does have a quarterback that is promising and has 2 more years, all right, in college football. So that's going to have some life and some positivity around it. Mario Cristobal, Tyler Van Dyke's last season, if y'all don't do something this year, you're looking at Ja'Cory Brown, and guess what? We've all read the tea leaves. It ain't looking great. It ain't. So it's a must-win this weekend for Mario in Miami.
Yeah, I did the adverse and said Texas A&M is a must-win. While a lot of people on the outside have already kind of said, we're done with Jimbo Fisher, we don't believe in him. I think if you lose this game to Miami, that's when your internal force really starts to go, all right, we need to look at other options because you beat that team last year. And if they come back and Miami beats you now, people are going to start looking around like, well, the team we were better than last year's already better than us again. So what are we doing here? I
think A&M fans it's just impossible to get out of that for at least another 2 years. That contract is $10 million guaranteed every single year through 2029, I think it was. And there's no de-escalation clause, meaning like, okay, if we wait until 2025 and fire him, the buyout's less. No, the buyout is $10 million annually, no negotiations, no ifs, ands, or buts. You basically got to fire him for cause, and AKA plan a story on him like Tennessee did with Jeremy Pruitt. Still one of the dirtiest things
Brian
I've ever
Harsin
seen.
going on.
Tennessee out here investigating their own coach for putting money in McDonald's bags was one of the wildest things. Just so
he
they
was
didn't
doing it
have
for
to,
a good cause.
I mean, Tennessee was doing it for a good cause to save their boosters $85 million or whatever the buyout was.
You remember why Pruitt said he was doing it?
Oh yeah, that's right. Black Lives Matter. That's why he was doing it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
We'd never talked about that. That was one of the wildest quotes I've ever heard from a coach. Jeremy Pruitt, look it up, basically said he was paying players because George Floyd died. That's paraphrased, but that's basically what he said, was it not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Absolutely absurd. Hey, Sunday's headlines today. We do this every Thursday. We're going to tell you what everybody's going to be freaking out about come Sunday afternoon when all the college football games come to kaput, okay? All of our national talking heads, what are they going to be talking about Monday or Sunday? This is what it's going to be. The easy reaction and the easy overreaction that's going to come out of is going to come out of Tuscaloosa Saturday night around midnight. Somebody's either retiring or is a total, utter fraud. That's the only 2 options out of this football game. Nick Saban's regime is dead. Steve Sarkisian's a fraud and will never work. That is it. That is the only 2 options. I think Alabama either comes out and beats the doors off of them, beats them by 2, maybe 3 scores, really handles the football game, or Texas wins a last-minute kind of thriller, scores late kind of deal, the way Alabama's been beaten at home the last several times, the only several times that it's happened over the last several years. So that's what's going to happen. I truly believe you're going to look up and you're going to be like, oh, well, Steve Sarkisian ain't never going to win one of these games. He's a joke. He's a fraud. Look at the defense. They can't figure it out. And if Saban does get beat, it'll be, oh, look, that's the 3rd assistant coach that's beating Saban now. He must no longer have his juice. Time to pack it up, old man. You need to go home.
Yeah, my headline for the Texas-Alabama game was, the Texas Longhorns are back losing big-time games. That's the headline that I would say for Sunday.
I stayed away from even making a headline on that because I think, like you said, there's only really 2 options. It's Sark is overrated and he needs to go, or Saban needs to retire. So yeah, I think that's the headline for that one. I've got one as well.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I've got Nebraska brings the prime train to a screeching halt.
Oh, I had a Colorado.
I got a Colorado.
So I think that I am really weary of all the public love that Colorado is getting right now. It feels way too good to be true, and most of the time in college football, it usually is. If it feels too good to be true, it is. So I think Nebraska wins this game just because I don't see how Colorado puts together the offensive performance that they had. Meanwhile, they still only won that game by 3 points. It took Shadir Sanders throwing 500 yards. It took Travis Hunter making pretty much every play on both sides of the ball for them to win by 3 points against a TCU team that we all kind of agree is not very good. So I'm going to say Nebraska wins that game and kind of slows down this hype train.
I was about to say, I know we were doing show last Thursday during this game, but did you have a chance to watch the Nebraska Minnesota game last week?
Mm-mm.
I watched like the 25-minute highlight thing of it.
So in the first half, there were only 4 offensive drives total. Reason being, Nebraska was just leaning on that sumbitch, was just running the ever-loving air out of the ball. I thought one of the primary reasons TCU struggled to keep Colorado off the field is because offensively they were rushed. They felt like they were trying to play the brand of football the game was playing instead of just playing their brand of football. If Colorado has one weakness, it's depth, or 2 weaknesses, it's depth and front 6 play. They don't have the bodies up front right now to not get leaned on. All right, so you're about to face a Nebraska team on Saturday who's coming into your house with a bunch of big people who are going to try to lean on your smaller, lesser-than unit. So and I don't think it's going to happen. I think Colorado wins the football game because there's just too much emotion tied to it. And that's an emotion-based football coach. And if there's anybody that can get 19, 20, 22-year-olds up and ready and playing outside of their mind, it's very clear to me to be Deion Sanders, okay, right now. At least there's nobody better at that in the sport than him. Maybe Kirby Smart. I mean, the pregame speeches are elite. We get that. But in terms of, like, playing outside of your abilities, Colorado has shown the ability to do that. But what if it happens, man? What if Matt Rule brings this Nebraska unit up there and runs the ball 55 times on Saturday and keeps Shedeur Sanders off the field and has the ability to continue to, convert the chains, right? Jeff Sims adds in as a threat in the running game as well. So there's an opportunity here where you might look up and Colorado might only get 7 possessions in this football game, 8 possessions in this football game, and you're going to be forced to score on every single one of them. I think there is an opportunity for the headline to be, quote, Colorado a one-week wonder. Because I'm telling you right now, with the way he's gone about doing things, there's not a single coach in America right now people are hoping loses more than Deion Sanders. Okay, so the moment it happens, and if it happens ugly, or if it happens to a team that they're not supposed to lose to, it's going to be loud, and he knows this.
Yeah, they build you up to break you down.
Yeah.
I think it all boils down to who sets the tone early and who's going to set the pace of the game. Like you said, if Nebraska's able to establish their run and they're just able to be consistent with it, and that's how the game rolls on, then Nebraska's going to end up winning the game. But if Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, and all those boys get the offense rolling hot and it stays that way, then it's going to be Colorado. I do think Colorado wins the game, which is why I put my headline as, who's higher, the state of Colorado or Deion Sanders' stock?
I like that. State of Colorado for sure.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
State of Colorado for sure. Brooks, I'm just kidding. Total joke. What was I about to do? Do you have the Deion Sanders screenshot of the Trey Sanders stuff?
I don't, but I can.
Yeah, get that for me while I ad-lib here. So as those of you who may or may not know, Trey Sanders entered the portal after Alabama's SEC championship game loss last year, I believe it was. After their end of regular season, during the first transfer portal window, Trey Sanders entered the portal. Trey Sanders then committed to TCU the week of the national title, okay? Trey Sanders obviously played in that football game Saturday against Colorado and suffered an injury midway through the fourth quarter, about 11 and a half minutes in the fourth quarter. Trey Sanders also, fun fact, was recruited heavily by Colorado because he was in the portal. So, yeah, you're going to get recruited. If you're in the portal, Colorado's calling you, period, point blank. Maybe even if you're not in the portal, they might be calling you, all right, trying to figure out whether or not you might end up in the portal, okay, that kind of thing. But anyways, there was a moment during this football game where Trey Sanders is hurt, and Deion Sanders ran out to the field, or didn't run out because he's got the toe thing going on, but walked out to the field and talked to Trey Sanders on the field. And he was asked today what he told Trey Sanders in that moment. And I think it kind of speaks to Deion, because I think a lot of people read the headlines on Deion or hear the press clippings on Deion or hear quotes from Deion, and you think he is very self-interested, right? You think he loves him some him. Deion Sanders definitely loves him some him. But Deion Sanders has got hundreds of millions of dollars. Deion Sanders does not need to be coaching college football. Deion Sanders can make $3 million right now at ESPN giving football opinions. He does not need to do this. He's doing this because he feels called to do this. He feels like he needs to be around young men and impacting their lives. And this was very much so a way of going about doing this Saturday. Do we have the clip? Or do we have the actual thing pulled up for the audience to see?
Pull up right there.
Yeah, what you're seeing is Deion Sanders standing over Trey Sanders during the game. And Deion revealed, saying, quote, "I walked over to him because he was a kid that wanted to come here. The reason I didn't take him was because he sustained some significant injuries. But I still had love for the kid because he wanted to play for us. So I went out there and I said, son, now you know if you don't get up, they ain't got a chance. So I want you to get your butt up and I want you to get back in the game and be dominant like you have been." That's what I told him. I wanted the kid to go out and be dominant. His last name Sanders, first of all, and he wears number 2 on offense. That's what the conversation was. So what you're seeing right there is that moment right there. Let's get that off before Big Noon strikes us with a copyright strike. But nonetheless, you see that moment where it is about the kids. There are people who do not buy into this, that think this is a show, that this is all for the views, this is all for the clout, this is all for the whatever, that it's not genuine and sincere. What are you guys' takes on Deion? Let's start with you, Kirby. We lead off with J-Will all the time. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think it's just shit talk.
You think so?
I think
you think that was his way of shit talking him?
To go over, not to shit talk him per se, but to go over and be like, hey, listen, you realize like you're the only good one on your team right now. You better get up because otherwise y'all ain't winning. And to also have that in the mind of like now the player psychologically has to go, he thinks I'm the best player on the team and he didn't think I'm good enough for their team.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, obviously I think deep down Deion does care about the kid. He does want him to do well. He wants to be dominant. But he took that opportunity to be like, hey, you know you're the only one who's worth a damn right now. And if you don't
It was almost an I told us so.
Yeah.
Like he walked over there and was like, we didn't take you because you're hurt. Look at you, you're hurt.
Yeah.
Now that you put it that way, what a dick.
Yeah. You know, I was loving this moment. Now you kind of poke some
man, I
holes
was
in
kind of
this
here for all this,
Now, I will say,
goody
like,
two-shoes
I have
stuff.
definitely been someone who has been of the belief that a lot of what Deion does feels for show, just kind of feels like it's part of an act, feel like it can just, for the social media crowd, for everything like that, pumping out some positivity for the Colorado Buffs. This was the first moment where I was like, okay, I think that he is doing this because it's just for the love of the game, for the love of the kids, and because he cares about what this sport has to offer. But then Christian kind of came and did his thing.
I thought we came to the conclusion that they're the Colorado Buffaloes.
The Buffaloes.
Boof.
You're
Yeah,
correct.
the Boofs.
The Buffaloes.
Yeah, the Buffaloes. Look at you. I see you. Get a little Buffalo going on. I think the Buffaloes win this football game on Saturday, but I think there's an opportunity that them Cornhuskers lean on them.
I like Nebraska, man.
You're not here. You're here for the Huskers, huh?
Feel
Like
a little corny, huh?
Like I said,
The Boofs versus the Husks.
media darlings never do well. Colorado's the media darling. Tennessee was the media darling last year. Whenever this team gets built up as, oh my God, they're so great. This is how good is this for college football? It never goes well.
I just think there's better opportunities on the schedule for it to come crashing down and burning outside of.
There
Nebraska.
are, but I think this is the real first
Like a
one.
loss
I think
to Colorado State.
yeah, like I think this is I think this Deion Sanders love ends pretty quickly. Not that he's a bad coach. Not that Colorado's not going to be a much better team. I mean, hell, they're already way ahead of schedule than they were last year. But I don't think that it's ever like people are saying Deion Sanders is the best thing to ever happen to college football. I don't know if I'm buying that.
You know what? For the sake of college football and to add some excitement into
You hope
this,
he loses?
no. I hope Colorado stays undefeated, and I hope Oregon stays undefeated until they match up. Because you remember what Dan Lanning said in the offseason?
Oh, yeah.
Or he was like, they ain't
What'd
won
they-
nothing. They ain't
what'd
brought
they ever
nothing
do
to
for
this
this
conference. Yeah. So I hope both teams are undefeated going into that game and bringing some juice.
Y'all got some Boss Seller Hole National Edition for me?
Yeah, we got a few for you.
Over here.
First one, Clemson finishes the season unranked.
Florida State's on the schedule.
They're already 25 right now.
You got to be a 4-loss team to be unranked,
What?
basically. To
yeah.
be Clemson and be unranked, they got to be a 4-loss team. I'm selling that. There's no way. Clemson will be top 25 by the end of the year. There's not 5 teams that are going to beat them on the rest of their schedule.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
If they do, Dabo's fired. It's not Dabo retired. It's Dabo fired.
Yeah.
That's not unacceptable.
All right. Bama beats Texas by 2 scores in Tuscaloosa.
I could buy that. I could buy the possibility of it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Like I said, I think it's either. Actually, no, screw that. I said Texas either wins close or Bama rolls. So yeah, I'm buying that.
Yeah.
I think Bama has an opportunity Saturday to kind of stamp it. I really do. I really want to hammer home this analysis for you people watching because it's going to happen Saturday, and you're going to be like, God dang it, Brooks was right. he got surprised. That defense got surprised by Quinn Ewers last year. That shit ain't happening this year. They've got so much tape of that dude doing so many bad things as a football player and as a quarterback specifically, things you're not supposed to do. They're going to make him do it over and over again. I guarantee you Quinn Ewers has a turnover in the first half, like a ghost turnover. Like, how did you not see that guy? They're going to bait him. I promise you, they're going to get that guy.
All right, I'll play off of that. If Texas loses this Saturday, Sarkisian starts getting a little stoked a little bit. That fire gets a little stoked.
No, you got to understand, when you get a guy like Arch Manning to commit to your program, that's called 3-year insurance. Like, you just bought life insurance for your career, essentially, getting that guy in. No different than Josh Heupel at Tennessee. They're going to see out. I mean, he's winning. Don't get me wrong. They're going to see out Nico Iamaleava. Or I'm going to have to learn that one. Nico.
Yeah, an E in there. All right.
Bro, the I comes out E, I swear. Listen to the way people pronounce it. It's Iamaleava.
All right. There. Shadur Sanders is held to less than 300 passing yards.
Oh, I'm selling that.
Really?
I'm selling that because I don't think they can consistently run the football. Most of what they do is going to be outside the box throwing the ball, whether it be behind the line of scrimmage or near the line of scrimmage. They do a lot of Dylan Edwards in the space, getting him the ball.
All right, my last one. Florida State just walks their way to an ACC title and a college football playoff spot.
Walks is a tough word because Clemson's going to show up, I think, at least give them something. But
it is in Clemson.
I don't think there's any way in hell Clemson can score with Florida State, though. Not after what I saw. By the way, Dabo, what are you doing? What are you doing coming out here Monday or Tuesday afternoon after one of your worst losses as a football coach ever, and in which you scored 7 points and had 3 turnovers in the red zone, and then looking at everyone in the face and telling them that offense wasn't the problem, that if your offense plays like that the rest of the year, that they should win every game? Sir, no, that is not what we do after we look like an absolute clusterfuck out there against Duke. Like, come on, dude.
All right, I've got one more. Utah is upset on the road at Baylor.
No. Not after what we saw last week from Baylor. Baylor's starting a new quarterback this week, I believe, after last week's debacle against, who'd they lose to? North
State.
Texas or Texas State.
Yeah, Texas State.
That's bad. The Wildcats, bruh. You out here losing to the Pooh Brown and the Pooh Brown Cats, bruh. That's bad news bears. No, I'm selling that one. I like Baylor. I like who was it, man?
Utah.
Yeah, I like Utah in that football game.
That was all I had. I had 3 of them for you.
That's all we got. We done for the day?
We got upset alert if you want to do that.
Who we putting on upset alert?
I've got a couple of teams I'm putting on.
Y'all put them on upset alert. I give enough takes around here.
All right, do you want to rate our takes after that?
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any?
That's just you, brother.
I
All
like
right,
a great
let
take.
you cook.
I've got a few. Kent State at Arkansas. I think that's a sneaky game.
New head coach at Kent State, new quarterback. I don't know. That's a B-.
Can anyone on Kent State's defense tackle KJ Jefferson?
Bro,
is the
that
question.
clip of him getting lit up
Insane.
by that linebacker and not even moving.
Stonewalled him.
I mean, not even a flinch.
All right, here's another one. Oregon at Texas Tech.
Texas Tech with the upset is what you're telling me?
Well, yeah, this is all upset alert.
A big pissed off Texas Tech football team, you would imagine, right?
Big chip on the shoulder.
Big chip.
Oregon also really likes messing things up early in the season. So
Depends on what Bo Nix you get.
Nah, we can't go against Dan Lanning, friend of the show. Can't do that.
You're letting your bias show now.
Oh, I'm biased. Dan, please come back on, buddy. I know you're busy. And, I know I've only texted you a couple times about it, but don't make me do it again, please.
All right, so we just touched on Utah Baylor, so I'll skip that one. Ole Miss at Tulane. That might be the one.
That might be the most likely.
What's the line on that?
I'm not sure.
I'll look it up.
Sheila wants to
Keep
look.
telling me why. Why does Tulane win that football game?
I think for one, the weird thing is it's a road game.
Yeah.
Their quarterback last game threw for like
That's the
298
answer.
yards, and he had 4 touchdowns.
I was about to say
And he's been solid his whole career.
They might have the better quarterback. It depends on what you think of Jackson Dart. That line is Ole Miss minus 7.5 in that football game.
Wow.
So not exactly the walk away SEC versus mid-major program that you would expect it to be. Hey, what a great week of content. I appreciate you being here. What? You got one more? Come on.
Notre Dame at NC State.
Not happening.
You don't think so?
All
right.
I think Notre Dame beats them by 21 points on Saturday.
So you're all in on the Irish this season.
I'm just not in. NC State is a perennially 7-5 football team. That's what they are. Okay.
Valid.
And Brennan Armstrong, come on, dude, get out of here. How did Miles Morris lose that job? Did anybody know that? MJ Morris lost that job at NC State. Brennan Armstrong, the former left-handed quarterback from Virginia, is the starter at NC State. Did you know that?
Yeesh, really?
Yeah. We might have to start a game like that of did you know or guess where this guy plays, because I heard that today and I was like, Brennan fucking Armstrong, what are we doing? Yeah, Brennan Armstrong, 2 picks Saturday. Notre Dame rolls heavy. Hey, for Brooks Austin for Film Guy Network, for everything that's gone on this week, I hope you hit that thumbs up button. I hope you're subscribing. If you're not already, hey, I love you. We'll see you on Monday.
Be a dog. We don't need no